Welcome to Wrestling Sheet Radio. I'm your host, ProWrestlingSheet.com, Editor-in-Chief Ryan Satin. I'm here with my co-host, Jamie Iovine.
How you doing?
And Kevin Silva.
I'm on camera.
Yeah, you're on camera. You're here, Kevin.
There he is. You've been on camera a lot more lately. I mean, like that top 5 video you guys had, you both were on camera.
What top 5 video?
Wasn't there? It may have been just a FaceTime that you posted between you and James.
Oh, I like the picture. I just posted a picture of it. I think it was.
No.
I thought it was on camera.
This is
I'm
Kevin's
mistaken.
debut in Phase 2
Really?
video. Yeah, he had the one. He's had a few on the YouTube channel
guys.
before.
I'm beautiful.
There it is.
There it is.
But yeah, Elijah Bates, our normal co-host, couldn't be here this week. He's doing, I don't know, he's probably camping or doing something.
I think he actually is camping.
I think he is.
Yeah, he's going like how last year.
He's
did
definitely
the big
camping
thing.
because he hasn't been responding to any text messages.
Oh, you're right. He hasn't been
Off the grid Eli, the best type of Eli.
He's gonna come back to our group text and have
1,000 texts.
yeah.
Hey, you
500
guys,
text
you know
messages.
what? I woke up at 5 a.m. and I just saw the most beautiful sunset.
Hey, it was great.
It was great.
I was like, hey guys, we're out here. It was great.
Which that is just a laundry list of things I don't want to do.
Now, for those of you who are listening, we're also live on video. We're not live on video, excuse me. We are on video. You can go to the YouTube channel, the Wrestling Sheet YouTube channel. You can watch this there as well. While you're there, please subscribe. We've been putting out new video content all week. Me and Roka have been in
daily.
here. Yeah, I'm working on it, man. Roka has been a huge help in here, but we've put up. This week we did the Raw and SmackDown recap shows. There was a new episode of Top 5 with James and Kevin on the
Top 5.
the Wrestling Sheet radio feed. And honestly, I know that the stories on the site this week have been, I guess not as many of them, but it's really been because I've been working on the audio video side of things. I mean, I still have so much to learn about the process here, and
Yeah, shouts out to Papa Roka.
yes, definitely so.
I thought you were going to say Papa Roach, and I was very
That's why
confused for a second. I know.
You see what I did there, Kevin?
I know.
I like the shirt you have on. That's all the Smash Mouth lyrics, right?
Yeah.
God damn
This
it.
shirt I'm wearing is the entirety of All Star front to back.
The internet is just consumed our lives.
Really, yeah.
Pizza Slime's great. They make great
They
stuff.
crush it.
Okay, so obviously, biggest story of the week was very sad.
Yeah.
All fun things aside here, the biggest thing that happened this week was obviously the passing of Brian Christopher. I know, Nikolai Volkov passed as well, but I think the circumstances that surrounded Brian Christopher's passing kind of made it much more of a big story in the wrestling news world.
No question. But what made it so shocking to me wasn't so much that he died, because we've been over this before, and this isn't going to be the last time we're going to say this. Wrestling likes to take them young. But the circumstances were, it's a DUI. Eli has a couple of them.
I think it was one.
But
Well, one while he's riding a bike.
Yeah.
yeah. But athletes, or not even athletes, people who get in trouble and then end up killing themselves while in custody or in jail, it's usually for a much more severe case, like Aaron Hernandez, for instance.
Well, I think that from the way I've taken it, and someone who I saw tweeting a lot about this was X-Pac. X-Pac was close with Brian Christopher when they were in WWE, but also he tweeted about his experiences in solitary confinement and how even if you're there,
X-Pac's experience.
X-Pac said that he's also been in solitary confinement before and had suicidal thoughts, and I think he even said that he may have attempted suicide as well in the past.
Okay.
While in solitary confinement. He didn't go into detail, but I saw a tweet where he said something along those lines, and it is true. Someone like Brian Christopher, or someone who maybe who has someone who gets bailed out of such bad situations a lot, I could see them not only not taking the situation of not being bailed out very seriously, and not
like nobody was coming. I didn't know this. Nobody came to his rescue.
So I obviously this is it's a sensitive topic, but I heard from a reliable source that it sounds like there was some tough love being given here. Like, because he had been on this downward spiral, because he had been getting arrested several times in the months leading up to this. From what I've heard from a reliable source, it sounds like Jerry was trying to give a little bit of tough love this time, and it backfired a little bit.
It's hard to, if that's the truth. I mean, that's really hard to weigh on somebody. Like, I can only imagine. Like, I've said my things about Jerry Lawler and my feelings about him as a personality, but I can imagine losing your son in that capacity where you are probably punishing yourself over that. And
yes,
that's heartbreaking.
I mean, from what I've gathered from this whole story, just in our years of being fans of the product and being Attitude Era babies, all three of us are, and it's just from the inception of Too Much, it just seems like the Brian Christopher story was. It was a sad one by and large, with sprinkles of niceness here or there.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, Too Much did whatever it did, but I mean, you can't deny that Too Cool had an impact on the Attitude Era.
Absolutely.
They did. I mean, I got to be honest, when I had No Mercy on N64, Too Cool were always my tag teams.
Me too.
And I liked them. I liked the dancing. Even though that because you would think Brian Christopher, a kid from Memphis, Tennessee, put him in a rap gimmick, like that's not going to work, but it did.
Yeah, and Roka and I were talking about this when we did a YouTube video this week where we were talking about, his legacy and stuff. And I said the same thing, that you would never have pictured these two super white dudes, that one being from Memphis would kind of be, two of the wrestlers in one of the most popular eras of wrestling that represented the hip hop culture, like in a way.
It's just I always knew that even back when they were on the same company, that there was a rift between Brian and Jerry. There was in the beginning. I don't really. Maybe you can kind of enlighten me, because I never really understood where we come from, a company where being the son or lineage of somebody is celebrated. Like where it's even sometimes in the case of Curtis Axel presented before the actual person, when Curtis Axel, not when he was Michael McGillicuddy, when he was Curtis Axel, they even gave him a remixed version of the Mr. Perfect theme song. But it was so bizarre to me that in a world where like who your dad is and who your grandpa is used to sometimes, in a lot of cases, to the benefit of the talent.
Yeah, but I feel like in yes and no, because
I just don't know what I didn't know what that's.
Every time there's like someone who did have, for every Rock, for example, like for every Dwayne Johnson, there's a Greg Gagne, like there's all the like ones that did kind of struggle to get that spot. So I could see.
But what I'm asking is how, I'm not saying that was the cause of it, but I'm just curious as to where this animosity came from between Jerry and Brian originally. I'm not saying there was then.
Yeah, I mean, I was so young when that was, I don't know the answer to that, but I always thought that was a weird situation too. Like, he never called himself Brian Lawler or anything like that. Well, it was always Brian Christopher or Grandmaster Sexay. The only time we really even, from what I recall, like, the only time they even talked about him being Jerry, like, I know it was always tongue in cheek back in the day. Like,
they had a thing where he would say,
like
"I'm not Jerry's kid." He would say that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right.
Vince would like make a comment on commentary towards Jerry about it, and it was like he's like, "Who are you? What are you talking about, McMahon? That's not my kid."
But I feel like Vince, it's Vince who doesn't who tends not to. For the most part, not always, but I feel like it's Vince who tends to not play off of people's lineage like that. Like, The Rock wasn't ever, I guess when he was...
His name was Maivia. What are you talking about?
I mean,
that's that blue chipper right there.
But I feel like there's been a lot of child, like Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt, for example. Like, they never say that they're the kids of someone. I guess
they did with Bo.
Bo Dallas said it this week on Raw, kind of.
And we can't say it with Bray Wyatt because he doesn't.
That'd be weird.
He doesn't have any parents.
I think also even it kind of plays towards the character of Jerry Lawler and the fact of like that he was kind of like this guy who was like sex crazed, and he was like, well, he can't have kids or a family.
Or
like
he's like Brian Christopher's probably one of many
illegitimate
children.
Illegitimate child, exactly. So like that's why it was so tongue in cheek. So it played towards that. I think that's what they were kind of protecting Lawler's character in that sense.
I think, well, from what I know, just my past experiences with liquor and drugs and all that stuff, when you come down off it anywhere, whether it be jail or your bedroom, you feel like shit for that period of time. Like, you feel emotionally and physically terrible. And I don't know what Brian was on at the time. It could have been just drinks. It could have been anything. But when you...
Well, he wouldn't have been on anything at that point in time because he'd been arrested for a few...
This specific time.
Yeah.
When he was arrested.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what he was on.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually we will
probably
find
pills.
out. Yes.
Probably pills.
But when you sober up and you look around... Because when you're in that solitary confinement, you have only yourself to talk to.
Yeah.
That's it. And I can't guarantee, but I'm led to believe that Brian just had a sober inward look at himself. And I'm not saying that this is what he should have done. It's of course not what he should have done. This was a horrible thing that happened. But if I had to play devil's advocate and put myself in his shoes, I mean, you're the son of a WWE Hall of Famer, and you've been in jail this past 2 months, like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And nobody's coming to your rescue. Nobody.
Like
your own dad isn't going to bail you out of this. And you're just like, I'm a 46-year-old man, and I can't even pay my own bail.
He couldn't even pay his own hotel room the other day.
Or however, 40 what, however. Yeah, I mean, he couldn't even do that.
That was what he got arrested for like a month ago, yeah.
And
I mean, that weighs on you. There are,
I mean, but so
hitting rock bottom is something that can affect you,
Absolutely.
I mean,
and he may have thought, wow,
what have I done?
How much lower can I get?
Did you guys see that clip too where it was from CNN when Chris Benoit died? And it was him talking about
Brian Christopher?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
It was Brian Christopher interviewed by CNN when Chris Benoit died. And it was him talking about how he's used to not seeing his friends live past the age of 45.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
It's dark, dude.
Dark seeing that dude, knowing that's around his age.
That era was like, there was so many young deaths, especially in that era.
Man,
it's
the 2000s, that was brutal. The
Absolutely.
the first decade of the 2000s, we lost a lot of wrestlers, a lot, like a scary amount. I'm going off of something that you retweeted, basically not in support, but like from that article that PW Insider put on their behind their paywall.
Yeah,
which. Bad taste.
Such bad taste.
Very bad taste.
Like literally just now, like Kevin just said, Kevin has said such horrible things about Jerry Lawler so many times on this show. And even Kevin was like, wrong time. Like, why would I, my heart hurts for this guy right now.
I'm not going to dance on this guy's grave or his family's pain. Like, it's no matter what you think of the person, but it's a horrible thing that's happened.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because there was one line in there that kind of stood out to me. And it was the line where he said, I forget which one of them said it. I mean,
they were all mainly Dave Shearer, those quotes.
Okay. But when if it was Dave, and then he said, it's so crazy to me that that he didn't look at somebody and said, I don't want to go to jail. Can you please help cover this and I'll pay you back?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he didn't choose to do that. This line stood out to me because there's some interesting things in that scenario, in that situation when that happened, that he didn't have anybody on his side. He didn't. And I don't even think that maybe he didn't think to, or he was too fucked up to ask for help in such a way. From what I understand, that's probably the case, that he just didn't even know where he was.
That's my guess.
But that's just to show you that's where Brian was, and unfortunately, that's where he was in his life.
I mean, it's
like he couldn't call a drinking buddy.
I mean, he could have probably.
But even those he had lost, dude. Like, I mean, for example, like Chase Stevens was his friend, and then that was when all this kind of started. Was when they got in that fight in the hotel room, and then he, his own friend,
broke his eye socket.
Yeah, I mean, like, at a certain point, when you. I know people who've been to rehab. I've spent time, hanging out with people in rehab, when I knew someone who was in rehab, and, like, when you lose all your chances, like, at a certain point, like, you don't have anyone to call. Like, everyone's kind of over your bullshit, And
I think the last thing people expected Brian to do was kill himself.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, for a DUI, you don't think that. You just think that he's going to come out of there after his time that he spent. He's just like, fuck, I hope I never have to do that again.
Well, one of the things that confuses me, too, is like when I got arrested once, the one time I got arrested, they took my shoelaces. Like,
Is that what they found out he did it with?
I don't know that, but that is something that has been passed to me from a source. And I can't think of anything else that he would have been able to hang himself with in a jail cell.
His pants? I don't know.
I guess maybe his pants, I guess. Oof, that'd be intense too. But I did hear his shoelaces possibly, and I was confused by that because I remember when I went to jail, they They
take your
shoelaces.
It's a standard thing.
But is that every jail, or is that only certain states and stuff?
I mean, the people that
was everywhere.
I have yet to be arrested. Never say never.
Knock on wood.
I mean, you were in a very interesting town to get and a time to get arrested.
Yeah,
but from everybody I've talked to who's been arrested, it's pretty much the commonplace. Yeah.
Because I remember when they took him, I was like, "Why are you guys taking my shoelaces? Like, I want my shoes on, you know?" And they were like, "Oh no, so you don't hang yourself or something." I was like, "Oh, all right, I guess that makes sense."
And it's really scary to see that. I don't know if it was just maybe this one in particular case with Brian, but it's unfortunate that, you know, a lot of these people, when they're sober, this is the state that they're left in, you know, after a lifetime of doing this. And, you know, in the case of Brian, a lifetime of abusing different substances, you know.
But he was on, I mean, like, I even heard recently that he was in a locker room just with a bottle of Jack, just sitting there and just drinking in a corner, you know. And so it's like,
I mean, demons are
it's a real thing, you know.
You get caught by your demons, and it's something that.
And addiction is something that it's hard to, you know.
You can't just
when you talk about addiction, you know, it's like you could say like, well, why didn't Jerry help or something like that? I'm sure Jerry helped more than anyone. You know, like
you have to want to be helped.
Yeah, it's the person. You know, it's 100% the person. You know,
I mean, because there's countless times where WWE has seen a star of their own going to a different company. They've offered their own rehab.
I mean, we look at Jeff Hardy.
Exactly. That's and these are options that are available to you, but if you want that help.
Yeah. All right. Well, last thing I want to bring up is another thing that we kind of mentioned in the YouTube video that I did with Broca, but I want to hear what you guys think about this as well. And I also want to hear from all you listening and watching as well. I'd like to hear what you guys think, or go check out the YouTube video that we did. But do you think, because Rikishi's already in the Hall of Fame, do you think that Too Cool goes in eventually as well?
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I do.
Even with the circumstances surrounding his death and his demons and all that kind of stuff?
Well, here's the thing. The circumstance surrounding his death was... he wasn't affecting the product. He wasn't affecting anybody involved. You know, this was a very localized thing.
Yes.
Like, it's a shame, but I don't even know what the proper wording for this is, but I'm grateful that nobody else was harmed.
Right, he did no physical harm to somebody else. It wasn't something he was attacking anybody. It was
nobody else was involved.
Yeah, unfortunately, of course, he inflicted harm on himself. But I don't know. I mean, the Von Erichs have been celebrated by the WWE.
Yeah, and they all off themselves.
Yeah,
except for one.
But that's not the same. I don't know if that's
the Von Erichs have a much longer and lasting legacy.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I mean, Rikishi's career takes a huge leap up
because of Too Cool.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I'm saying is Rikishi's already in. You know, does Rikishi warrant 2 inductions into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I don't even really consider Rikishi a member of Too Cool.
Yeah, I don't either.
What do you mean?
Well, because whenever they came out,
it was Too Cool and Rikishi.
Yes, they always never put them all together.
All right.
And even in the inception of the dancing, they really had to encourage Rikishi. They're like, come on. Like, he would leave a few times, and they would literally drag him back in. So I always thought of them as like their friends.
Okay, fair enough.
But I mean, did they do anything that'll last? Like, did they have a WrestleMania moment? No. Did they have crazy title runs? No. They were very transitionary in terms of the tag titles. Did they give us a lot of fun moments? Absolutely.
That Royal Rumble moment.
Was incredible. The Dudleys doing the dance with them I'll always remember Bubba dancing. And I mean, these are the kind of guys that, they were, because they're not, I wouldn't say they're a comedy thing, because they weren't. I mean,
they were parts of it,
I guess. Thing. But I mean, they weren't out there. There are parts of the show that serve different aspects of what you want in your entertainment. If you wanted the long bell-to-bell, great working matches, you don't look to them. No. You just don't. But if you want to have a good time, see a lot of funny dance moves, the worm, the rubbing the goggles before the leg drop, and then finally seeing a giant Samoan in a thong dance, then they got you for that. Yeah. And I think that's just as important, in my opinion.
I do too. I completely agree.
And to be fair, that leg drop is one of the best leg drops
absolutely
in the business ever.
You mentioned, so and you mentioned in the video games. Remember how long it used to take to do that move?
Yes,
because he does the whole like goggles thing, and they'd always get out of it.
They
you get out of the way because you took 5 years to do the move. But yeah, so rest in peace, Brian Christopher. I know we're all fans. And yeah, it's a very sad thing. Now, moving topics here. A little more lighthearted of a topic here.
Thank you for doing that first.
Yeah, is Big Cass. Big Cass has a slightly different name. I don't know. Did you see this already?
I saw it on the way here.
So silly.
Big Cass was announced for his first post WWE event for a company called Big Time Wrestling in South Carolina, I believe. And he's no longer Big Cass. He is now, drum roll, Big Kaz with Z's instead of S's. Big Kaz. Can we just talk about how this is probably the most TNA name for like a post WWE star?
It is
ever, and not even someone that went to TNA, which is the worst part.
He's going. Crime Time just changed spelling. Why can't I?
But you know what's so funny is when I first saw it, I was like, that's kind of like how Enzo pronounced Big Kaz. Because you go Big Kaz. And I was like, maybe he got it from Enzo.
That's a scary, good sounding Enzo like that for everyone.
Like, that's how he talks.
Yeah.
It's
I've noticed in Enzo's Instagram videos that his like raspiness is slowly going away. He's like kind of losing that a little bit and having like more of a normal voice.
I don't know what he's doing lately, man.
Did you guys see that he's the album cover thing that he teased?
Yeah, and people are hot about that.
Yes, people were so
I did not see it. But
Which first off, if he's gonna sell it, I don't know if that's allowed.
It's allowed. I think it's parody. You can parody another album.
Does that count as parody?
You can.
There's a difference between parody and just replicating it.
No, because like if like let's say Weird Al did that, it's the Bruce Springsteen Born in the USA album cover.
Is it at least like a
but with an Enzo bandana?
Well, he didn't show it. He just posted a picture of the Bruce Springsteen album cover and said like inspiration for my new album.
It may not be it. It may not be it.
He wore the bandana out of his back pocket. That's 100% what it's going to be.
Maybe he's going to recreate it. And not like just the actual. If he recreates it, that's different. You can do that.
Yeah.
Like if he took the actual photo.
No,
and then added his bandana. I thought that's what you were insinuating.
No. I'm guessing he did a photo shoot where he's like just similar
you
pose.
Can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. It's offensive, but you can do it. What?
I don't like Bruce Springsteen anyway. So.
You know what's funny is when Kevin wrote the Elias review
Dude, I had to
on the site, he totally did like a semi dig at Bruce Springsteen, and I thought to myself, does Kevin not like Bruce Springsteen?
How?
I just hate it. It's just so cheesy.
He's the boss.
It's very cheesy and not my boss. I've always wanted to get a shirt, one of those not my president shirts, but not my boss with Bruce Springsteen's face on it.
Or that Andre's your boss. I mean, be that as it may, I love Bruce, but
yeah, aren't you like cool with Bruce Springsteen? You just say you like because
Bruce and my dad came up together. What do you mean? Have you seen the documentary?
Yeah, because when Jamie saw the story, when he saw something about Bruce, what was it?
When you said that Elias. Yeah. So that's something. But
we should talk about that. Yeah. So basically, Elias was interviewed by Complex, and they asked him.
By the way, before we move on, I just love how much substance that Big Cass thing had.
Oh no, we're gonna keep
already moved on.
No, we're not moving on from it yet. We're getting back. We're going back to it. But as a bookmark here, Complex did an interview with Elias, and they asked him who the most famous person in his phone is, and he said it was Bruce Springsteen. He says they text occasionally, and Jamie tweeted back saying like, "Well, I got to find out what they talk about," and so, dude, you got to make that happen.
I should, but I just don't.
You don't want to.
I don't want to go to my dad and ask him. Can you ask Bruce if he's talking to this wrestler that you've never heard of before?
Your dad hasn't heard of one of the hottest musical acts in entertainment right now.
The most anticipated album of 2018.
I don't want to shit on Elias like that. I mean, like, I think Elias is the songbird of our generation, but I mean, my dad's out of touch, much like Vince. Like he gets old.
I asked Roka this too this week, and I'm trying to make time for it this weekend. But have either of you guys watched the mockumentary yet?
No, and I keep forgetting that it's on.
Me too. I keep forgetting when I'm home.
Like I'll sit at home and I'm like, I want to watch something, and then like I'll like when I'm getting ready for bed, I'll be like, oh yeah, I could have watched that.
I've watched like bits and pieces of it. I definitely saw where he like rolls into Louisiana and like New Orleans, and he's like going to his show, and him performing at his show, and he's like by the time that second chorus comes around, they're singing along, and like people were singing along to the songs. So like good for
What were
Elias.
the songs about?
There's so the opener is about how everyone's stupid. How essentially it was like an extended version of Elias.
Is it a full
Drummer.
band or is it just acoustic?
It's just acoustic, except for the third song. But the second song is about him getting his adulation from the people that listen to him, but then him just kind of shunning them away because they're stupid. And then the third song is him playing the piano because he can.
Plays the piano.
Yeah,
wow.
and that's essentially the premise is that he can.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is that he's literally doing it just because he can.
Until Elias plays an acoustic sing-song version of Stand Back, then I don't know what he's doing. You know, like imagine the Vince song Stand Back, but soft acoustic version.
Wait, so you didn't listen to the album yet?
Not yet, no.
The last track is actually
Yeah,
pretty
I was
good.
gonna say,
enjoy the-
I feel like I would like you to listen to the last track because Kevin and I have not been able to figure this out. Well, we've debated it amongst ourselves.
I don't think he's playing that solo.
You don't think it's him?
No.
I should pull it up, but it's I'll pull it up right now. But basically, there's a guitar solo at the end of the song, like near the end of the song, and there's no way it's Elias. Like, it's too good of a guitar player.
Wait, you said that you think it's Elias.
But it's such a good guitar player that, like, I'm with you in the terms of, like, it can't be. It's too good.
I just thought it'd be a cute little thing to put in my article that said that I thought it was, like, hopefully the Honky Tonk Man or Jeff Jarrett.
Wait, can I?
Or Road Dogg, rather.
Where's the guitar?
Hey, 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 hey.
This is it. Okay.
Riveting television, guys.
It's not that intricate.
You think that's Elias playing, though?
It's not interesting. It's not.
It's not crazy.
No, it's not. But at the same time, Elias has a moment to like really focus on just strumming chords, it's a little difficult for him. I will say.
You think?
Yeah.
It seems a bit intricate for Elias. I mean, he really plays pretty basic stuff.
And you know what? I doubt we're ever gonna know.
Okay, so
Yeah.
back to the topic that we were actually on.
Back to Big Kaz.
Okay.
Cage.
So, Big Kaz, if he does not make his finisher known as the Kaz Mission or the Kazplex, I am going to be so pissed. Like, you
Yeah.
can't call yourself something that's so similar to Taz
I didn't even think of that.
and not.
And they're both from New York.
They're both from New York. they're both like I realize they're difference when it comes to size,
And
but
everything.
But oh wait, update here. I like this. Austin, who works for the site, he is monitoring throughout the show tonight. He's going to be monitoring Kane's run for mayor right now. Right now, Kane is heavy in the lead.
Wait, didn't he? What was the election that he won so many months ago?
Yeah,
That's so funny that you say that because we put
preliminary,
an article on the site this week about how the actual election was today. And when Austin pitched it to me, he's the one who wrote it. He was like, "Hey man, I think everyone thinks that Kane is already mayor." He was like, "Can I write an article letting people know that the election isn't until Thursday?" And even though he's like
I was
the favorite
confused
to
about
win,
that too. What election did he win?
he won the primary.
Primaries so that he
So
could
that he
be
could
on the ballot.
So he could be on, yeah,
Oh.
exactly. Except the whole thing is that where he's running is heavily in the red. Like they're heavily Republican.
Republican.
Like
Well,
Kane.
he's a Republican.
And he's a Republican. So like in the article that we put up this week, it was basically explaining that like Democrats don't win there. So he's the only one, he's the Republican candidate, and that he's basically going to win tonight. So we're going to have probably by the end of the night, maybe
Mayor
by the end of this
Kane.
episode, we're going to have Mayor Kane.
Is that why? Then maybe we could talk about what the hell that was in terms of bringing Team Hell No back for what Yeah, like
the only thing I could think of, and I touched on this a little with Roca on the Smackdown recap, is my fear, and this is not with inside information, but this is just more me putting pieces together, is I do get a little concerned with them rushing into Team Hell No reunion, and now they're doing Miz and Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam as opposed to WrestleMania. That they're maybe trying to squeeze everything in before because he has
not confirmed
that he's resigning. And that they're like, well, we're not going to have him much longer. Let's do. These are the two things that are most important to us.
That makes sense.
1,000%.
You think that's what it is?
Oh, absolutely. As soon as I saw that they were going to do Miz and him at SummerSlam, I was like, oh, they're just at least a failsafe. Is that let's give him the few that he's wanted, and let's also just make sure that we get it out since we've built this up so much. I mean, why not just get it in there?
I was because whenever I get my hair cut, like wrestling is on with my barber, and
is it the same guy?
Yep. That's a story for another podcast.
I tell that story to so many people. I tell them all the time.
The artwork piece.
Yeah, the artwork. Yeah.
Anyway,
I told somebody that, and they're like, "What?"
It's my favorite story to tell people.
Poor guy.
Can you just tell them real fast?
Yeah. I'm gonna leave names out.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to ruin this guy's business.
Basically, long story short, this haircut guy.
So my barber also goes and does private sessions for my father at his house. So my father just had my stepmom's birthday party. Throws her a party every year, and he had just gotten this new art installation in his living room. And this artist had taken this giant. It had to have been like 8 by 8.
It's big as the set for sure. Yeah.
And what he had done is taken this big sheet of aluminum, and he had just carved things into it. And it was I'm not going to say who it was or anything. It was worth quite a bit.
But if you look at it, like, I'll be honest, if you look at it, you wouldn't think it's like this expensive art piece. You would think that it looks like someone was carving into aluminum.
So after one of the haircut sessions, my barber's going downstairs to leave, and he sees this piece. And the night before we had just had that party, he thought that my dad had put that up for different guests to write their own name into it. And that wasn't what it was.
No, it was not a guest book.
And so he took it on himself to write his name there.
He basically thought it was like a guest book in a bar mitzvah or something like
and
that.
So my stepmother asked me, Jamie, do you know who blank is? And I immediately go, what? Like, how do they know this? First off, like, because he used his nickname, not his name, his nickname. And they said his nickname, and I was like, oh God, how do they know about that? And then they show me the art piece, and at first I say, no, I have no idea what that is. and then I call him, and I'm like, yo, like, do you know this thing? Like that, and like this art piece? And first he started laughing because he thought I was kidding. And then I said, no, dude, I'm dead serious. You just drew on almost like $1 million art piece.
I'd be mortified.
He's a black guy. He turned white. Like he's like, Jesus Christ. And I felt bad telling him because I knew that would ruin my day.
Oh yeah. That's why I tell people that story so often, because it's just like I couldn't imagine being on the other line to that phone call and being like, did you think that was fucking tinfoil, idiot? You know?
Well, needless to say, he's still employed by us. It was a misunderstanding.
But they get free haircuts for life. No,
to be honest, no, we don't.
You should. Okay, so back to the topic. So you watch wrestling whenever he cuts your hair.
Yes, and thank you for bringing it back because I even forgot why I brought that up.
I love that story.
But it's a great. But anyway, so we're getting it cut, and we're watching.
It got fixed too, by the way.
And we're watching it, and he says that whole, and I can't wait to punch you in the face, and it's so funny to me because you would think that, like, that's what you do in a fight, right? But just saying the sentence, punch in the face, is so insane in the world of professional wrestling. It's like, you would do that? You're a weirdo. You know, like, you wouldn't do a flippy flip off the top rope into a spinning corkscrew kick. It's like, no, I just want to sock him in the face.
Just one of these guys right in the face.
You're a strange person to want to do that. You want to sock somebody in the face. You're a crazy person.
How funny was all the babies they showed on the screen?
Oh my God. Like, when first when the first baby, I was like, that's funny. And then when it was a whole wall of babies, And then some wrestling out of context did a screenshot of that of Daniel Bryan just looking angry at these wall of babies.
Yeah, no, that and Brock reading the magazines this week were like the two best images.
I gotta give credit to the creative team. I gotta give credit to the writers that they just cycled out different magazines,
and it made it 10 times better because of it.
Because he probably wouldn't be reading the same magazine for 3 hours.
No. Well, we don't know. Like, maybe.
Paul, these ran out of pictures. I need a new one.
Okay.
But are we going to talk about that segment at all?
No, because we did on the recap. But if you've got something you want to say about it.
My favorite thing about Brock Lesnar on the microphone is when he gets really excited.
Oh, yeah.
And words come out of his mouth before he thinks about them. Like,
yeah.
You're here. An example. You're here. I'm here.
Put your headphones on.
Let's do this.
You'll hear that you're cracking the mic very often if you put your headphones on.
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, that's not my fault.
No, it's not. It's all we're all loud.
That's you too.
You're also cracking the mic.
I know, I'm loud.
Well, that's why I'm not listening to the headphones.
Oh.
That's actually why I took them off too.
When Paul asks him, "Didn't you see what happened?" and then Brock says, "I didn't watch the Paul show. Why did I watch?" That whole sentence was jumbled up. It didn't make sense. I don't watch the Paul show. What did he say? The show, Paul? Like, he said something so weird. Like, it didn't make sense when he read it back.
Which part? Sorry, I was texting someone.
When he said, when Paul said, "Did you hear what Roman Reigns just said about you?" Why would I watch it, Paul? I don't watch the show, Paul.
Yeah.
Why? It doesn't.
That's a good Brock Lesnar impression.
He does.
Jamie's good impressions.
When he gets flustered,
right,
and he doesn't because he hates being on the mic.
Yeah, he hates it.
He hates
Paul,
it.
He's got he's got a real
when he grabbed whichever correspondent it was backstage. I'm gonna bash Roman Reigns and I'm gonna beat him up. I'm gonna beat his ass because it's this high pitched voice.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I could say that here in a room on a platform that he will never watch, and he lives in a city that I'll never go to.
In the country.
Yeah. So I'm comfortable saying that.
I do gotta say, I mean, now we're talking about that segment. I mean, I saw that you guys got steak. You got a steak the other day, Ryan. Was the steak coming, or are we getting steak right now? What's that?
No, that was a special occasion. Christian was on the grill that day.
Yeah, there is a grill.
And you also brought a fucking banana here today, so you get no food because I know your fucking intentions with that. And I'm not rewarding it.
I love that Brock wanted his steak medium well, like a fucking
well done,
like a monster.
Even worse, well done,
like a monster.
That's rude. It's rude. You can hear my thoughts about that on Top 5 this week, guys.
Yeah, no, and the recap. So we got
we should
lots of meat talk this week. Now,
is Brock Lesnar like his future after the SummerSlam not a topic?
Is this no? Because I don't really know the answer, to be honest with you.
No. I don't think any of us do. I mean, like he was supposed to have been finished at the greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I think to me, in my opinion, this is all the work of Paul Heyman.
Absolutely,
all of this has been the work of Paul Heyman.
Absolutely,
it's he.
And you know what?
That's why the uncertainty is there.
We were wondering how the hell are they going to get us to boo Brock Lesnar,
and they did.
They did. They figured it out. Just have him be who he is.
Yep.
Just show them he really doesn't give a shit.
Well, wait. We're going to move topics from here because we only have a little bit of time, and we've already covered this very thoroughly on Top 5 and the Raw recap. What I do want to talk about is another thing that you are very interested in, though, and that is the ominous thing known as the Roman Reigns Task Force.
Yay!
I'm excited because I actually haven't heard about this.
Okay. Which I'm submitting my application. I know I could use some extra ducats if you want.
Oh, apparently, Jamie, and we'll explain everything. I didn't see the update from this idiot who put out the story. He's now saying that he knows it's not true now, that his sources were wrong. But I want to discuss it anyway.
Wow.
I want to discuss it anyway because it was fucking hilarious. So there's this person on Twitter yesterday, and it cracked me up. They put out this like real long, like intense report, quote unquote, about something that's been going on behind the scenes in WWE. And it was great. So I'm just gonna read with you what they wrote because
Kevin, you're gonna love this.
Yeah,
this is the best thing I've read in quite some time.
I want everyone who's listening to this to know this is 100% not true, but it's so funny. I have to read it in full.
I'm
so
upset that
if you're familiar with that group of Twitter people trying to get a new cut of The Last Jedi made, then you'll understand what this is. It's the exact same thing.
It really is.
It's the same thing.
I gotta say, though, I'm a little disappointed knowing that it's not real. The fact that, the way that Jamie pitched it,
let's be honest.
It sounded like there was maybe a job waiting for me out there. And
so listen,
I'll explain.
I want some money.
I'm gonna explain right now, but let's be fair here. Let's be fair. Even though this guy has since followed up saying that it's not true, and I've said it's not true, it's possible we've all been gotten to by the Roman task force. So just keep that in mind. So
what's happening?
If there aren't,
this is what it said. It said multiple sources high up in WWE have confided in me some very serious and damning information. It would appear Kevin Dunn is leading a small task force in the WWE at the personal order of Vince McMahon to pay fans to support Roman Reigns, both at television tapings and on social media. Oh, wow. Focus groups are showing an alarming few number of WWE fans liking Reigns, so WWE is paying large sums of money to make sure that isn't the case. The amounts have not been confirmed, but I've been told anywhere from $100 to $200 per fan at live events to throw away their anti-Roman signs and replace them with pro-Roman signs, depending on seating. On social media, fans are being paid anywhere from $1 to $10 per tweet.
Wow.
$5.
Shit, I'd make my entire page about Roman Reigns.
I'd literally be a Roman Reigns fan site if that were the case. $5 to $20 per Instagram post, and $1 to $3 per Facebook comment in support of Reigns. And these numbers vary depending on influence and reach.
Yo, so if you're like an IG model and you're a Roman Reigns fan, you could make some fucking money.
Wait, I feel like there's more that I'm leaving out. Okay, so it says Reigns, they're doing everything they can to shift the narrative in their favor. This task force has been in place since January of 2017, but is only coming to light now as WWE employees are fed up and think this needs to be exposed at all costs. It's estimated this task force... I love this, is my favorite part. It's estimated that this task force has spent $5.8 million so far
in a year
on fan payouts.
On things that are like $1? How does that work?
With no real ceiling. It says on fan payouts with no real ceiling to the budget. Fans are signing very powerful NDAs that would result in excessive fines if violated, which means this story will be denied up and down now that it's been broken. However, if enough fans make a big enough stink about it, this could have massive implications.
Whoa, guys.
So let WWE hear your voice with the hashtag.
Wait, when did the pyro go away, guys?
Now you know. Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Oh
you
my
think
god!
That's part of the task force conspiracy?
When did the custom sets go away?
Oh my god!
Oh man. What else are we not on? Oh man, that's what Greatest Royal Rumble was for.
Who's coming to the door?
They had to fund the Roman task force.
Oh my god! There's a line of people just doing this coming into the office right now.
They're all just walking forward. Oh my god! No, they're gonna spear us! Ah! Okay, there you go.
Because I don't have a side account that's been doing this for a while.
Dude, that's the best thing ever. Okay, can we please put up on our Pro Wrestling Tees section Roman Reigns task force member?
I thought about it already. I honestly have already thought about it. I feel like it's a very easy one to do, and I would buy that shirt.
Yeah, I'd wear it. Like, you're telling me if you go to SummerSlam and you wouldn't love seeing a pocket of all fans just all in black shirts wearing Roman Reigns task force?
I think you get away with it by saying like Roman Empire Task Force.
No,
or just
like
Roman's task force.
That's true. Good call.
Oh man, yeah, no.
And we're not claiming ownership of that concept. If you guys want to go and make your own Roman Task Force shirts, please do, because I would love to see that on television if you go to an event.
If WWE like I always wonder, like, when I hear about this, I always hear people go like, oh, the co-opted media or stuff like that. I don't think WWE approaches people in that regard. I hate to be the burst everyone's bubble, but WWE doesn't approach people like that.
That would take a really long time, because first off, you would have to ask them, how do you like Roman Reigns? I'm all right about it. Well, okay, come here. We're going to have to do a deal right quick. They would have to. They're
looking for the signs of the negative Roman signs.
And so, like, say they go to you and you have to sign an NDA. They're going to give you an NDA in your seat that you have to sign.
That's what I was thinking about it, is that in this person's mind, there's some guy who's like looking in the comments on the WWE Facebook page, like, oh,
we should get this
motherfucker said something bad about Roman Reigns.
Why don't we give him money?
And then they're like, give this person money. And then they like click on their name, they send a message, and they're like, and that in this person's mind, that no one would have like talked about this. No one would have been like, no, I don't want to sign this and put it out there. I love it. The Roman Task Force. Honestly, Roman should start a stable called the Roman Task Force. Like, that's how good this whole thing was.
He's been so active on social media lately. I'm surprised he didn't address it.
Maybe he'll address it on his next promo.
Or maybe
it's real.
Maybe
it's real. He's like, hey, where's my $10 for this tweet? I'm not getting paid for this tweet. Like, I'm putting out positive stuff about my Roman Empire.
Who
Roman.
Who are you right now?
Roman can't get paid to be high on himself.
He can't be part of his own task force?
No.
I'm pretty sure that you were just like I don't know, like John Travolta in like Grease right now. You're like, hey,
that's similar.
Where's my
where's my 10?
Roman Reigns has a little Danny Zuko in him.
Does he?
He's got a little Danny Zuko in him, you know?
It kind of felt like more like a.
Now I want to see him and Alexa Bliss sing Summer Lovin'.
You know what's always...
Ooh, that's probably gonna happen for SummerSlam.
Yeah, remember when they did? Wasn't it Guys and Dolls?
Yeah,
it wasn't Guys and Dolls. It was what?
West
Side Story.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
You're a jet all the way.
Did that help when I was doing that?
Stabby thing.
West Side Story was dope with all the cast with wigs on. That was awesome.
I like when they did the movie ones too for SummerSlam that year, when they had like a bunch of different.
Back when they were out here.
Back when they were out here. Now, someone else who was a big, I guess not a big thing in the news this week, but something else that happened in the news this week is these fucking Hulk Hogan teases. It's a Hulk Hogan. He's teasing. First, it was on Monday. He teased an appearance on Raw, which didn't happen in an Instagram.
I know
Twitter
why
video.
he was in Miami though.
He was doing like a music video, right?
Yeah, with Cedric Gervais.
But okay, is that person famous?
Yes, he's a famous DJ.
All right, noted.
In the club world, you probably wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't. It wouldn't touch your ethosphere.
Okay, but was that you? What are you doing?
The water bottle. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
He's reducing his carbon imprint. Yeah. That was a metal.
That's good. Okay, good.
Jeez.
Sorry, I thought you were breaking things over there.
I'll break the walls down right now.
Don't do that. You're not going to get invited back if you do that. So first, it was Hulk Hogan. He tweeted like a video where he was on a plane and he was like, "Oh, I'm flying private, Raw. Hey, brother, Raw is in Miami. Like, might have to go take the title from Brock, brother." And then it was like, it was interspersed with the NWO music and static, but then he wasn't on Raw. But then later in the week, he did another video where he was like at a sushi bar or something like that. And once again, the same thing happened. He's like talking and interspersed with the NWO music and static. I'm wondering what he's up to. Like, to me, if they're bringing Hulk Hogan back in any way, shape, or form, it's not going to be NWO Hulk.
No.
They got to bring back red and yellow.
They'll bring back red and yellow. And
so what do you think this is?
I think it's Hogan working his audience. I think something like Hulk Hogan coming back has to be, like, when he does come back, it has to be a surprise, because I think there's less chance of backlash. Because if you go knowing that Hulk Hogan's going to go, some people are going to go like just wanting to be smart asses, and do chants, and
as opposed to being like caught up in the moment when his music hits and just being like, "Oh, it's Hulk Hogan."
Yes. And I think also, I take everything that the Hulkster does on social media with a grain of salt.
Me too.
Because he doesn't really know how to use it all that well.
This is very true. Very true.
And that's just a fact. That's just what it is. Like
there's no way he made those videos himself. That's the only reason I was a little suspicious of that. That clearly there has to be something going on.
Here's my thing: is that Hulk Hogan's pitching an NWO filter app, and that's what this is.
Why not?
I would
make your own NWO videos. That'd be tight.
That probably I could see that.
That'd be kind of sick. I'm just gonna say that.
My guess is
Pastamania, brother.
Is that it's my guess is that it's gonna be an NWO reunion on like the network or something like that.
Like a dinner for three?
Maybe.
Or table for three, rather.
Does he pop up at All In, brother?
Hulk?
Yeah.
Nah, they've already hit their budget, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like if Hulk was going to be at All In, we'd know at this point.
And just with my time involved in the con world and finding out how much Hulk Hogan asks for appearances.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, because I remember when they wanted him for something and they said that he was very pricey. So,
well, yeah, they said they wanted him to do a run-in
at the Long Beach show, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think? My thing is this though, like, I just don't feel it's necessary. But you know, it's gotta happen.
None of it's necessary. Goldberg's last entire run wasn't necessary.
It was a little more necessary.
How?
Because the way it ended was so bad, and
that was an ego thing.
But also,
that was purely an ego thing.
They're selling a video game at that point. They're they want him in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that made sense. This is a guy who you wiped from your records for a little bit, and then you are now bringing him back for what reason?
You know what?
Nobody but Hulk Hogan.
I'm friends with the Balea family, not so much Linda anymore, but like I know Brooke, I know Nick, and I know Hulk, and I'm happy that he's back because but personal shit aside, like of course I'm happy as a friend that he's back, but I'm also ecstatic that because every single creator wrestler is not good of Hulk Hogan.
They're the worst.
They're the worst. And I'm sorry, none of the songs that you could put for a creative wrestler sound like the Real American.
It's not the same.
I need Real American in my WWE 2K.
Like even Rey Mysterio, I feel the same way. Like
even though they look
like him, but
him.
The entrance just doesn't feel right.
No.
When you're like, he's got like just like what's it called, like
generic like rock
generic
music.
Mexican music.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the, or I'll use like what not Kalisto. Grand Metalik, like I'll use like Grand Metalik's music, and it's not the same.
Yeah, and like I needed to hear, yes, like people have their differences about Hulk Hogan and what he did recently, but like by and large, and I agree. Some people who have voiced their opinions, like the Titus O'Neills and the New Day, I agree with them. Like if that's how you feel, and if that is something that if that's you were there, you saw what he did. If that wasn't good enough for you, then by all means say it. Like that, I agree with that 150%. But what they all said as well was that you can't deny his impact on the history of wrestling. And say you want to do, like for instance, I'm jumping back and forth between what's right and what I want in my video game. But
yeah, I like how Jamie is what's right in the world relies on what he gets in the video game.
Yes, and it's just when you like, for instance, in my 2K universe, there's the current product, and then I also have Feeling the Other Days, WCW, and old school WWF.
Okay.
And Hulk Hogan is a major factor in that, and I just can't have it, and it makes me mad. And I even asked Bryce. I was like, he may come back this year. Can you just do it? And he said, no, we can't put him in. Probably not even till next year. And I'm like, that means that I know it makes me mad that I know that there's a game coming out that's not going to have Hulk Hogan in. I already know he's not.
So wait, you have Raw, SmackDown, NXT, WCW, and then WWF, basically?
Yes. So it's a full week of shows.
Wow, that's a lot going on.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on.
You guys are adorable. You guys are real cute.
I can't wait till Fire Pro comes out.
Do you like the thing they announced this week that's like real Mortal Kombat-y, the tower
dope.
thing?
It looks dope, and I'll tell you why. Because if you've just barely getting into the fighting world craze, and you could what's the word? You could back me up. Whatever. You could back me up on this. That after a while, just playing the campaign gets boring.
Yeah.
But with these added stipulations, like with the Mortal Kombat towers, like, if you could beat somebody while grenades are falling from the sky and shit like that, that keeps you coming back for a while.
Yeah, Erica's obsessed with the tower in Mortal Kombat right now. Whenever I'm like not there, she's sitting there playing in the tower there. So it makes sense.
And this is a way, because we've also been hearing rumblings that they may skip 2020.
Really?
That W2K20 may.
So this one coming out is 2019.
Yes.
Right? So then, interesting. They might skip 2020?
So to completely overhaul the game engine.
Why?
Have you heard that from reliable sources? So that
not from them, not from them themselves, but from reliable gaming channels. Yes,
crazy.
And
they should.
And
I tweeted it recently. They need to.
It's
ridiculous. They haven't taken a year off in a while.
Yeah, and a lot of the same animations are from Just Bring It or even Shut Your Mouth. And it's just hard to really change completely in a year, in less than a year. You know, these games take a long time to make. Yeah. You know, and the fact that they're able to shit them out year is difficult. Is impressive to say the least. And I'm hyped for the towers. I think it's if that is the case, if they do have to skip a year, this is a great way for them to constantly be, because you can update those towers. Yeah. Like if you look at the DC the Injustice ones, those are updated like monthly, weekly.
So so you're more of a gamer than me, and I was listening to the Collider Games podcast when I was driving into work today. If you're a gamer, I recommend you check it out. It's a great show. And they were talking about a game, like a Star Trek game from 2010 that kept its community alive just through DLCs, updates. And it came out in 2010, and it still has a community now.
Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2014.
Is there still stuff they released for that,
yes.
packs and stuff?
There was just one that was last week.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So that's the same game.
I was always wondering why people still played Grand Theft Auto. I didn't realize they still released.
They just keep adding shit to it.
So it's like new missions
new stories. Yeah, just with the same engine, but they just are able to add.
See, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
See, to me, that actually, now that I've learned that, it actually.
Because you turn the volume on your computer.
It actually just. Sorry. It actually, what was I saying? It confuses me that, sorry, this text message threw me off. It confuses me that WWE doesn't do that. Like the WWE hasn't taken a year or two off or something like that to just releasing DLCs to keep the game alive.
Like, you know who does that right now? And it's so funny because it's the same company, but I think they're only, from what I've been hearing, they're actually going to start doing it, is NBA 2K. They do that.
Makes sense.
Like if there's a roster change, if a player gets traded, they are able to.
Once they brought in the whole live thing,
yes,
that was the whole thing. They were
able to update rosters, update gear, even some of the stuff. If they do a deal with Jordan and there's a new Jordan shoe that comes out, you could buy that code to download the shoe to put on your player. So crazy. NBA 2K does that already. I thought it would be I think it would be dope if they implement that in WWE 2K.
Absolutely. It's. I mean,
yes, you can change the attire with Create a Wrestler.
I remember when NBA introduced that, and I was blown away.
Like for instance, we're limited with the DLC characters until about the game comes out in October. We get DLC until about February or March.
Yeah. And I apologize that I was on my phone, everyone. Just now, I got an important text message.
But it would be so dope if consistently, when a new talent comes in or entrance changes or the music changes or just even you could change the gear through the community downloads. That's easy enough. But I just thought it would be so dope if real product things happen on TV and you could just add it to the game.
Me too. That's why I don't understand why they don't do that. Especially when I learned that Star Trek thing today, when I was driving, I was like, why wouldn't they just take a year off and they could release honestly, as someone who plays every title that they put out, if they just put out DLC every 6 months of new wrestlers, it would make things so much more entertaining, and they could easily take a year off. I would have no problem with them taking a year off if they just put out a DLC of who's someone that's not in the game right now that recently came back, if they put a Ronda Rousey in there or something like that, or any of those kinds of people that aren't in the game yet, or the cruiserweights, stuff like that. I don't understand why they don't do that, as opposed to spending all this time to put out a whole entire new title, when they have issues with the titles that they put out.
So going back to the Towers thing, if the Towers are done in the way that Mortal Kombat and Injustice does, it's the same developer, so they should really look at NetherRealm Studios for that. But it'll keep people busy until the next game comes out, if they take a year off. So I'm for it.
Yeah, no, I very much am for it. I hope they do that.
What's going on in the world of Mario Kart, guys? Anything?
Well, Mario Tennis came out, and it is flames. That game is awesome.
I'm glad I asked.
I'm loving, actually, that Erica became a gamer now, because it's awesome being able to play video games all the time. I'm sure there are many people listening right now who have had a girlfriend or have lived with a girlfriend who was not necessarily a gamer, so a lot of your gaming has to get put on the back burner.
If you thought we weren't going to talk about Erica even at a Collider studio, then you were wrong.
Hi, Erica.
But yeah, no, it's nice being able to game again. So, but WB, yeah, step it up, man. Take
Fire Pro is going to be fun.
Take 2020 off. You know what? I never played the original Fire Pro. Did you play it back in the day?
Yeah, it's very much like No Mercy.
Okay.
Very basic controls.
Yeah, I'm not like as pumped about it as everyone else. But I have seen a fun thing that, did you ever used to play Extreme Warfare Revenge on the computer when you were Booker?
No, but I know people who have. Yeah, and they have a GM type thing. GM mode
that's what
type
it is.
thing.
That's all it is. It's only GM mode. It's not. It's all a text-based game where you're basically the Booker of your own Fed.
I'm saying what they showed on Fire Pro is basically GM mode.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. Maybe I'll get Fire Pro.
Yeah, they have a whole.
But isn't Fire Pro only PS4? Yeah. Damn PS4.
Japanese
Nerds.
man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get PS4 eventually, man. And especially now that Erica's gaming. Okay, last talk of Erica. Okay, well, guys, I think we've almost hit an hour here. Have we? I didn't check when we started.
It's almost there.
It's about an hour, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm going to close it here because it's hot and I got to start editing this video and the audio. So, Jamie, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at JAMIE_IOVINE or on Instagram at JAMIEIOVINE. And if you are a watcher of Championship Wrestling from Hollywood on the CW network, keep tuning in. You may see something interesting in the near future.
Ooh, sexy sounding.
Also, cool pants.
Hey, they're very nice. They're very cozy, very comfy. They may be coming to your computer screen in the very near future, so stay tuned for that as well.
Kevin, where can people find you at?
You guys can find me at Kevin Gets Rad. I'm cross-platform, making it easy for everybody. And you guys could listen to me every week, every Thursday morning on Top 5.
Yeah, Thursday afternoon, more likely, because I'm the one that edits it.
You should get up early, because I would love to start my day with a more hot cup of Kevin.
All right, well, then I'll start getting better at it. You know, it's just like the recap for Smackdown goes up like Wednesday night. I'm still working out the kinks of the schedule, but it goes up Thursday. It goes up on Thursdays.
It's Thursdays.
And as a little bit of a change for those of you who have listened to the first 10 episodes, it was a Raw and Smackdown podcast where they talked about their favorite 5 things on Raw and Smackdown. Now
we're all wrestling.
All wrestling. Twitter, other companies,
anything going on in the wrestling world,
anything in the world of wrestling. Like, for example, this week one of them was the picture that Ciampa took with Triple H.
It was.
It
was a longer topic than we thought it was going to be.
I plan on listening on my way home, and I'm surprised to hear that. I saw that in the list, and I was like, wonder how much combo they can get out of that. But good to know that you guys got a lot out of it.
Beards.
And I'm at Ryan Satin on social media. It's the website. It's prowrestlingsheet.com, at Wrestling Sheet. If you don't follow us there, please do it. It helps us out. The follower count is a big deal. Please go follow us there. Also, if you're listening to this,
comment, subscribe. Push the bell button for notifications.
Right there.
He beat me to it, but yes. If you're watching this, well, let's start. I'm sorry. If you're only listening to this, there's video available. I'm looking at the camera right now as I say this, so those of you who are watching the video can see me. Hello. But if you're listening to this, go to our YouTube channel. There's a ton of YouTube content that I'm putting up every week. There's lots of stuff that's being done. I am really trying to step things up when it comes to the channel. So please, please, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there, like the videos, as Jamie said, hit the notification things, all that fun stuff. It really does help us out a lot. If you're watching the video, go over to our audio feed. It's on iTunes, on Podcast One. It's the Wrestling Sheet radio feed. There is a bunch of stuff going up all week now. There's Raw recap. There's Smackdown recap. There's Top 5 with James and Kevin. There's this show. There's going to be an indie show called Best of the Rest. There's lots of stuff going on there. I'm working on an interview show where I'm going to be doing, sit down one-on-one kind of interviews and stuff. So please, please help us out by going, subscribing, all everywhere. It's a big, big help. And until then, we're tapping out for now. But until I fucked up my own.
Wow.
I don't have it. I'm like all thrown off because I don't have Okay, we're tapping out. We're officially done. Until next time, stay out of the dirt and keep your eye on the sheet.